Good morning everyone, welcome to Join the Dots. Now, this is a very special 2-minute piece just to explain to you that over yesterday, the end of yesterday, all of Saturday, into Sunday morning, I will be covering every piece of internet ground I can find to see what the best and most logical and fairest explanations are for the absolute crash in the silver price yesterday. But please remember, okay, you have to remember this. These things do happen. They happen very, very rarely, but we are on the right side of this equation. In 1980, when this happened before, the last time, and the price got absolutely slammed, the market was right, the Hunt brothers were wrong. This time, the market, the paper market in America and the UK is wrong. The industrial demand is right. So we are on the right side of this. It appears to me at the moment that the paper market has done everything possible it can to defend itself because it's got some colossal settlements coming in March. And I've heard this from two different people. Okay, remember, we are on a journey. We're very different at Join the Dots. We're not speculators, we're not traders, we're not trying to game the system, okay? We're on a journey. And our journey, would you believe it, after Friday, we are still 14% up in silver in the last month. And we are still 120% up since we started this service July the 1st. So nothing has really changed other than a step change in the price temporarily, because it's not based on the metal, it's only based on paper. Thank you. Good morning everyone for a very special Join the Dots. Now, 99% of you will not be aware of what is happening in China. And I don't blame you, because you're all busy watching the silver price, which, as I said yesterday, don't do it. You're on a journey, okay, where as I sit down it's 109.60, so it's been down to 106, it's been back up again to 116, it's down to 109.60. We're 50% up in the last month. So as long as you join this journey sometime between when I started this service at the beginning of July and 2 weeks ago or a month ago, you're way up. Now, if you're trying to trade it, I have no sympathy. I've told you before, this is not a market to trade, and I wouldn't trade it. Okay, I have no sympathy for people who try and make super profits only to lose it all and then think of someone to moan at. And I'll get that in my comments, I'm sure. We're on a journey, and the journey is absolutely right. Now, in some ways, this news overnight makes the journey even more sure. But it is very, very frightening for the world. And this is why you watch Join the Dots, because no one else is going to tell you this. They're not. Okay? In China, the head of the PLA, and almost, if you like, almost equal rank with Xi, maybe just a little bit below. They grew up together. They've been through everything together. They've talked intimately together about life, China, what's happening. And he was arrested, the head of the PLA, and he was accused, not just the normal, corruption. No. He was accused of giving away secrets to the US about China's nuclear forces. And there's an expression in China which sums this up. The snake has swallowed an elephant. And I think you can picture that. It's okay for the snake to swallow it because they can. Their jaws open, they swallow things, but they can't digest this one. Not an elephant. And that's where we are. So to take you on to the piece that I want to talk about today, because this overrides everything in terms of markets. It will have consequences, of course it will, and they will be colossal, more likely. And they will be more beneficial for people holding precious metals, more likely. But let's run through this, okay? It's terrifying for the world. And I'm going to read you through Lay's Real Talk. I'll link it. It's link of the day, but no fanfare, Craig. No fanfare. This is too serious. Okay, this is link of the day. This is Lay explaining or reading from the letter that has been released across the systems, written by the head of the PLA. I won't try and pronounce his name. Before he was arrested, because he knew it was coming, or he knew there was a big chance of it coming. So he wrote a letter and he distributed it quite widely, and it's been released and it's now being discussed. So what you have to do is, I call this piece 30 minutes of history. Xi wants war over Taiwan is the bottom line. That's the bottom line of the piece. Xi wants Taiwan because he wants to go down in history, even though he'll be dead then, as the person who reunited China. And I've always said that, I've always seen it, it wasn't difficult. But here you have the head of a PLA explaining why it would likely fail, and it would cause chaos, utter chaos across the world. So 12 minutes 30 seconds, and that's quite a long way into this, so there's a lot of introduction. 12 minutes 30, listen to the discussion of the wars. Taiwan, US, Japan. 14 minutes, the consequences for the people. This is what this man was worried about. He's the head of the army, but he was worried about the people. That is a rare quality in someone who's almost political. There are no politicians in this world today who worry about the people. It's all ego, it's all ideology, it's all spin. It's crap basically, isn't it? But that's what we've allowed to happen. So here he talks about the consequences for the people. 16 to 18 minutes, the agreements on the party's way forward that appear to be at risk. So there were agreements struck between the head of the army, the elders, Xi, the other people in the CMC, I think it's called. 18 to 20 minutes, coup discussed. There was the chance of a coup. 20 minutes, Russia-Ukraine support discussed, and that was expected to be a quick battle. Russia would take Ukraine or take the Donbass, seal it off, and then Russia would support China's assault on Taiwan. Didn't end up that way, did it? Zhang's assessment of the risk of the Taiwan assault. China would collapse. Now this is very important. Listen to it. 21 minutes 45. Listen to it. Okay, it's his version of what would happen if China launched an assault on Taiwan. 22 minutes 45. Xi flatterers now surround him. He has no one. He just has an echo chamber. So now you haven't got any discussions. You've just got an echo chamber where the leader says what he says and everyone nods and says yes. Xi flatterers surround him and feign worship. Once in a century leader, greater than Mao Zedong. I remember last year, and I said it at the time, that when he spoke at one of the big meetings, the plenums, he was wearing a Maoist shirt. And I said, that says a lot. Insight, thinking, critical thinking, looking at the detail, not just accepting what the press says. So 23 minutes 30, he saw the plot 100%. He saw what was going to happen to him, or what was very likely going to happen to him. So he wrote this letter. And he is absolutely, it's almost 100% what has happened. How he's been charged, what he's been charged with. He wrote it all. He described in detail the playbook they used to arrest him. And then at 27 minutes 25, and I'd like you to listen to this, expectations of Xi, 4 major issues. Now, this letter evidently is everywhere in the Chinese media landscape, so everyone knows. So he's been a very clever guy, this head of the PLA. He's been very clever. He's realised what could happen and he's planned for it. And he admits that he's very late in his life. This is nothing to do with him. This is all to do with China. And for us, this is all to do with the world. because we live in a very unstable world, and we know that. We can see everywhere it's unstable, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Gaza, whether it's Ukraine, everywhere. India, Pakistan. There's so much talked about in this piece. And we have to take this into account. So I'm not talking gold and silver. Although, what I am seeing on gold and silver, and I'm getting lots of messages from clients as well, the internet is being swamped with anti-gold and silver stories. And experts are being dragged out of retirement to talk about this has never happened before, this is a bubble, this is a bubble, this is a bubble. They are desperate to try and stop the price of silver and gold telling the world the truth. Because the truth is very, very, very serious. Okay? And they are trying like hell to stop you getting that truth. There are bank briefings, there are stories coming out, there's press. But at the end of the day, and they're all criticising silver, they're all saying it's overvalued. None of them talk about supply and demand. They all talk about relative price to history. Oh, it was 50 then, it's 110 now. Oh, it's 50 then, it's 110 now. None of them talk about supply and demand because they can't without giving the game away. Can you see it? The journey is absolutely cast iron, but we're going to see some volatility here. We really are going to see some volatility, and the politics may rule for 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, while this all settles down, or doesn't settle down, and that's the worst case. On the China thing, now I wasn't going to mention this. I wrote a big report on it, but I thought, it's not that important really, but it is now. Because Tony of China Update, so you've got your first link, which is Latest Real Talk. Your second link, right, is Tony of China Update. And you have to join these dots, because I am, and I think it's serious. I've told you for 6 months now that China's economy is collapsing. And I've always had that link in my head, joining the dots in my head. If the Chinese economy collapses and Xi stages a sort of coup against everyone else, then we're in the worst position possible for the world. Here we are today. So Tony looks over the figures, and even China admits in its official figures, it now has debt to GDP over 300%. Get that figure in your head, 300%. Now that doesn't include debt at non-governmental levels. So like the figure that I've told you for time and time again, local government investment vehicles have $17 trillion equivalent in debt, with only one source of repayment: sale of land. Well, they can't sell it anymore because no one wants any more property, because they've got 30 million empty units and all the developers are bust. The property market is flat on its back. House prices have fallen for 5 years. No one's going to buy property. $17 trillion worth. That's a year's GDP. So it's 400%, and that's without all the rest that we don't know about. Growth was the weakest since 1978. Have you got that? Growth was the weakest since 1978. Officially 4%, but that's garbage, we know that. Leverage grew at 11.8%. So we've extended debt by 11.8% without anything to show for it, because the economy is contracting. Household debt grew at just 0.5, so people aren't borrowing. They're not borrowing. House prices fell and high mortgages led to early repayments. It's the 11th consecutive quarter where mortgage outstandings have fallen because people are clearing their debts. That doesn't happen in a good time. It doesn't happen in 5% growth. It doesn't happen in a peaceful time. People are worried. Growth in consumer loans, excluding mortgages, fell to 0.2% growth. 0.2. In an economy growing at 5%, get a life. Get a life, everyone. Anyone who believes that China's growing at 5%, get a life, please. Business loan growth was near zero. Only the state-owned enterprises, SOEs, loan growth led to 4% growth overall. Now, what does this all mean? Well, what it all means is that the economy is illiquid, there's low growth, jobs are being lost. China's exports are just about to fall down the toilet, aren't they? And I've told you about that so many times with Europe as well. And what's Europe saying now? They're too dependent on China. I told you that yesterday. So this is the story of the day. This is not a story. This is a warning. It's a terrible warning. Because when you've got that economic collapse happening, combined with an out-of-control leader who now has no rails, there's nothing to stop him doing what he wants now. Everyone who could have stopped him has been replaced or arrested. And that's what the letter tells us. So, yes, it's going to be very uncertain. And as I said yesterday, do not follow the silver price day by day. It's irrelevant. The journey is safe. We're 50% up in the last month. 50%. If you want to trade it, good luck. You'll lose. Because there are forces out there now whipping the market from side to side, top to bottom. And the snake has swallowed an elephant. And the indigestion is going to be colossal. So, as I say, I had articles here from Don Durrett, I had articles from Michael Oliver, Greg Marino, William Middlecote, Mario. They don't mean anything compared to this story. And it's not a story, it's the truth. And that's why that's why you watch Join the Dots, because I find you the serious truths before anyone else even talks about them. Because we have to understand them to know what is going to happen in the markets for our silver and our gold. We don't trade it, we go on a journey. It doesn't look good for China, Japan, Taiwan, the whole region. It doesn't look good. Okay, so and just another point while we're talking, or while we're not talking about America, Amazon has just laid off another 16,000 after saying when it laid off 14,000 in October, it wouldn't be laying any more off. It's just laid off another 16,000. So if you believe the 4% growth coming out of the United States, again, please start to think, because you need to think seriously now. I see nothing here that changes our journey. May accelerate it, sadly. But this is huge. And tomorrow we'll come back and we'll do a finance only special. Thank you very much.